My name is Sheree Jones, and I'm an oil painter and a teacher of oil painting and a teacher of plein air. And I can't imagine my life not doing this. So it's kind of the same old reason for being, eating, sleeping, breathing, and painting. So I started painting very seriously about 15 years ago when I took my first plein air workshop in Spain, actually, and sort of fell in love with that and realized how important it was to be painting from direct observation. Being outside definitely triggers a different state of mind because you're in the elements, so you have all of the sights, all of the sounds, all of the scents, everything that is around you. And you also get to meet people because it's a solitary profession in many ways, but I'm used to being around people and being with people, and I really enjoy painting out with friends and students. So that's one element of being outdoors is being able to share and be with other artists. I think there's so much influence and inspiration in any setting that you plunk yourself into, that it's one of the difficult things is to learn how to edit and be able to take your viewfinder and decide why you want to paint something, what draws you to that, and then the whole experience of just being in that environment is heaven. It's just heaven on earth. I don't think I'd choose to paint in a garbage dump or where there's a lot of not really big into painting in noisy, loud cities. I'm one to find shade in the heat of summer by a babbling brook sort of thing. But painting on vineyards, things where you have long vistas, looking upriver, looking at atmospheric perspective. There's so much to it. When painting plein air, it's all about feelings and gathering information. So you're influenced by your surroundings. So depending on the sights and the sounds, that's going to influence your mark making. Could very well be influencing your mark making, but I think that the essence of the place is going to inform what you put on the canvas, for sure. My first plein air trip to Spain was an opportunity that I found through a friend who's a travel agent that was facilitating this retreat. And I hadn't been to Spain before, and I didn't speak the language, but I knew the teacher, and she was brilliant. And from there, I went on to I've studied with easily 6 amazing mentors that I have studied with or continue to study with. Since that first plein air adventure, I'd say adventure, it just told me that I can experience life through the canvas and with other people. I love painting alone, but I love painting with other people. So what that did was it got me interested in learning from more masters. And I just realized that it's kind of like you get your cake, you get to have your cake and eat it too. So my love of travel, my love of meeting people, all of those things, and I get to paint. Well, that's just pretty amazing. So I continue to do that. I was just in Mexico in March studying with a very good artist that I've been following for years, and just imagine that, where you're in a beautiful place at the mouth of a river, and your room is overlooking the river, and you're painting. We boated up the coast for a day of painting on the beach. We painted in the botanical gardens, et cetera, et cetera. So just everything is the whole, all of it is the package, right? Where it's travel and being with like-minded people. Painting internationally or painting anywhere outside of my own backyard, as it were, is something that allows me to experience other cultures, you know, like look behind this curtain, what's happening there, you know, go around this corner and it's like, wow, I never realized there was a cemetery right here and it's all crumbly and it's really beautiful, right? If you're afraid to go anywhere, you're not going to get anywhere. One of the wonderful things about these retreats is that everybody's staying in the same place. Everybody's having their meals together, so that we're all just like-minded, eating, sleeping, breathing, painting together. And the relationship building is just amazing. It's so rewarding for me. My first Mexico workshop in 2019 was pretty much a revelation to me because I had not been to the place. And because it was located in fairly remote, but right on the beach with a big swimming pool, and everybody had their own beautiful room, and just the quietude, and all you hear is the surf. And we have a big wraparound covered veranda and beautifully homemade food. That experience made me sort of set the benchmark for me for what I expect from a retreat. I returned to Spain from the first one I took, and 6 years later, I was invited to come and teach there. And I knew I was so overwhelmingly honored to do that. And I knew the lay of the land. It's nestled in the hills of Andalusia. There's a swimming pool because I love to swim. And we went to the Alhambra in Granada, which I had been to. We didn't paint there, but that is, you know, one of the wonders of the world. So that was super amazing to me to be able to return and teach after my very first plein air workshop and lead a group. I think just being outdoors and traveling informs my whole being, and informs my my practice in terms of always seeing light and shadow and pattern and design. You know, the more you look, the more you see. And the more you see, the more you see more. It's like the more you know, the more you know you need to know more, right? First thing I think of is what's the light doing? I know where the sun rises and I know where it sets. And if I don't, I'm hooped. So then that's what I need to share and teach my students as well, is how to understand and see how the light's going to change, because light will change in an hour and a half. That's usually about all you've got. And that makes it, that hopefully helps you not be precious with what you're doing. It's like permission to play. We just dropped you in a visual circus and given you permission to play. And so the technical stuff always has to come in, but it's nice to walk around to each person and their easel and point a couple of things out without saying, okay, these are the rules and you have to follow them. You have to strike a balance. It's not easy. For people that are new to painting plein air and they, you know, they're not sure why, but they like being outdoors, I think it's a wonderful way to be able to have an adventure without, you know, scaring yourself, especially if you're with someone like me, like that can lead you and guide you. Like I say, permission to play and be curious, and don't sweat about the outcome, right? It's more the experience than it's the journey, not the destination, right?